Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Cheryl Yuen. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Health officials play down the possibility of an outbreak of an Omicron subvariant. Lawmakers quiz the government over the cost of a revamp plan. And healthcare stocks surge as a mainland interest rate cut spurs the Hong Kong market. Officials are investigating a possible transmission of an Omicron subvariant at a quarantine hotel in Lan Kwai Fong. 2 people tested positive after they left the hotel, but health experts do not expect an outbreak. Macy Mok reports.
Health experts visited the Lan Kwai Fong hotel today to investigate after 4 people in the quarantine hotel tested positive. 2 lived on one floor and the other 2 on the floor above for 4 days. The patients included a couple who arrived from the United States on May the 3rd. They were found to be positive on the 12th day after arrival, when they had already left the hotel. A man and his son who arrived from Nepal via India and Singapore on May the 7th also stayed in the same hotel and were infected. One of them contracted the Omicron subvariant BA.2.12.1, as did the couple. Government pandemic advisor Yuen suspected that a vertical transmission had occurred. He said a test showed that hot air from the bottom of the building could reach the upper floors through a pipe duct located at the back staircase. But the government is awaiting test results to confirm the method of transmission. Yuen said people at the hotel do not need to evacuate and an air purifier should be placed near the staircase door, but Yuen said the public should not be worried. There were 243 new COVID cases today, 26 of which were imported. 4 more COVID-related deaths were also recorded. Maisie Mok, HKIBC.
The government has rejected a call to cancel the vaccine pass scheme for those under 60. This comes as health experts recommended that people aged 18 to 59 get a 4th jab against COVID. Chloe Feng reports.
Government advisors have recommended a 4th vaccine dose for people between 18 and 59 years old as extra protection against COVID. They should get their 4th shot at least 6 months after the 3rd, as the level of protection subsides over time. People aged 60 and older are already advised to go for a 4th jab. The recommendation comes after Hong Kong University health experts Benjamin Cowling and Chen Tak-kong urged the government to exempt people under 60 from the vaccine pass. But Health Chief Sophia Chen dismissed the suggestion as inappropriate, adding that the experts' comments might discourage others from being vaccinated. She said Hong Kong has to increase immunity to protect the elderly and high-risk groups, while helping the city return to normality. Microbiologist Yuen defended the government's policy, saying the vaccine pass scheme should remain until 95% of the population have had 3 doses. Only 52% of Hong Kong's population have been vaccinated thrice. Chloe Fong, HKIBC.
Lawmakers have begun sifting through the government's revamp proposal, which will cost close to $100 million a year to pay newly appointed officials. The legislators demanded an explanation for the extra expenses and the duties of the appointees. Macy Mok reports.
Lawmakers today began scrutinizing the government restructuring plan, which includes a proposal by Chief Executive-elect John Lee to create 3 deputy secretary positions. With the number of policy bureau rising from 13 to 15, the 17 new posts in the revamp will cost taxpayers $95 million a year, almost 3 times more than the $33 million estimated earlier by outgoing Chief Executive Carrie Lam. Lawmakers said the duties of the deputies for the Chief Secretary, Justice Secretary, and the Financial Secretary are unclear. Yuen, the only non-establishment lawmaker, demanded the government to justify the extra expenditure and proposed deferring approval of Lee's suggestion until he has served as Hong Kong's leader for half a year.
How can you convince members of this council and the public that there are specific indicators, because you just can't say that you're facing more challenges, there's need for more coordination and so on. That's not enough to convince us.
In response, Daniel Zhang, the Secretary General of the Chief Executive-elect's office, said results are more important than money. He rejected Tick's call, saying the new structure is crucial for the administration's work. He added that as Lee is still forming his cabinet, the division of labor between secretaries and their deputies will be announced later. Finance sector lawmaker Chen Chun-yang expressed concern that the financial secretary would be distracted from financial-related work. This is because the finance chief will have to oversee the housing bureau under the revamp. But the government said the deputy secretary would help alleviate the workload. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Overseas, U.S. President Joe Biden has begun his first Asian tour since taking office more than a year ago. After discussions in Seoul on North Korea's nuclear threat, he'll move on to Japan, where he's expected to unveil a regional trade plan. Sarah Wong reports.
With his sights set on China and North Korea, U.S. President Joe Biden landed in South Korea, the first leg of his 4-day Asian tour. The visit may have come near the halfway point of Biden's first term. But it is the first foreign policy test for Seoul's new U.S.-friendly leader, Yuen. The meeting is likely to upset the North, as both Yuen and Biden prefer a tough approach with nuclear-armed Pyongyang. The White House is gearing up preparations for the real risk of North Korean weapon tests while Biden is in the region.
If something does occur, it will only serve to reinforce and highlight the fact that the United States is going to be engaged in the Indo-Pacific, is going to be a stalwart ally, and is going to stand up to and not shrink from any acts of aggression.
After 2 days in South Korea, Biden heads to Japan, where he'll meet Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. In Tokyo, the American leader is poised to unveil the much-anticipated Indo-Pacific Economic Framework to woo regional partners. This trade plan aims to strengthen cooperation and standardize practices in areas including labor, the environment, and supply chains. It embodies the Biden administration's pivot to Asia in a bid to chip away at China's growing economic clout in its backyard. Seoul, which will inaugurate the plan, denied that its participation would harm ties with its biggest trading partner, Beijing. Sarah Wong, HKIBC.
In the United States, the families of the victims in the Buffalo massacre have issued emotional appeals for action on racial and hate crimes. This came as a white teenager was indicted for first-degree murder. Sarah Wong has the details.
Peyton Gendron displayed little emotion as he arrived in a courtroom in the U.S. city of Buffalo to be indicted for first-degree murder. The 18-year-old is facing life in prison if convicted of killing 10 blacks and injuring 3 other people in a shooting rampage last weekend. The suspect, who is alleged to be a white supremacist, is believed to have chosen the only supermarket in the black neighborhood after planning the assault for months.
Hey, you're a coward!
When he appeared in court, he was heckled by the victim's relatives, who were seeing the suspect for the first time. Others who lost family members in the massacre were emotional.
He just came to he was on a birthday party. Went to the store and got shot in the back of the head. We found out he was dead on Facebook, and that's not right. I need this violence to stop. We need to fix this, and we need to fix it now.
Prominent civil rights figures vowed to sue all accomplices in the shooting.
That's who we got to hold accountable, the gun manufacturers, the gun distributors. What did they think this 18-year-old young man was going to do with an AR-15 that could shoot 70 rounds in 20 seconds?
We need to hold the social media companies. We need to hold all that have aided and abetted in this era of hate all over this country.
The FBI has so far refrained from classifying the case as an act of domestic terrorism, although it was described as such by President Joe Biden. Sarah Wong, HKIBC.
China has cut a key interest rate to give the ailing property market a shot in the arm and boost the economy. It reduced the 5-year loan prime rate from 4.6% to 4.45%. This followed a drop in home sales and mortgage lending. The 15 basis point cut is the biggest since Beijing revamped its interest rate mechanism 3 years ago. The rate cut in China boosted Hong Kong stocks, with the Hang Seng Index gaining 3% to erase yesterday's loss. Healthcare firms rose sharply as CanSino Biologics soared 10% after its COVID vaccine was approved for emergency use by the World Health Organization. WuXi Biologics jumped nearly 8% and was the biggest percentage gainer among blue chips. Investors revived their appetite for tech titans, sending Alibaba up 5.6%, while Meituan was 4.5% higher. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index was up 596 points. Top 10 active stocks. Tencent was up $12, Alibaba up $4.70. JD.com was up $11.80. AIA was up $3.25. Forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar. The euro is at 8.30, the British pound at 9.79, and the Australian dollar at 5.54. The London FTSE is currently up 138 points. A mosque and a shophouse are among 3 buildings that have been gazetted as monuments. One of them is City Hall in Central. The Edinburgh Place structure, which opened in 1962, includes a garden with a memorial shrine dedicated to those who died while defending Hong Kong during the Second World War. The Jamia Mosque on Shelley Street in Central was also declared a monument. Built between 1915 and 1916, is the city's oldest mosque and remains an important place of worship for local Muslims. The third new monument is a 4-story shophouse in Mong Kok called Loi Sang Chun. It was built in 1931 and served as a Chinese medicine shop. It's now a Chinese medicine and healthcare center run by the Baptist University. On to the weather now. Tomorrow will be hot and mainly cloudy with occasional sunny periods. Temperatures will range between 25 and 31 degrees. Cloudy with a few showers on Sunday and Monday. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Friday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Cheryl Yuen. Thanks for watching. Good night.